Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you so much for coming on this Saturday, still morning. So good morning and welcome. This is a Seville USA event, and we're so happy that you are all here today to listen to our amazing speaker who has a lot to share with us. We do different events on different topics because this is actually a part of mental health. The more we know, the more we share about different things that are happening in life, because none of us know what stressors we have. Some of us can have family stresses, some of us can have legal stressors, some of us can have financial stressors. So that's why we like to put together a variety of different events from all types of topics that we can share with the community. So all of us have our own talents and our own knowledge base, and it's very important that we share that with each other. We're actually very open to topics that you would like to discuss. So if you have any input on topics that you think would be of interest, please share it with us. Please contact any one of us. Please contact Naziha, myself, Summer, any of the staff, and we'll happily try to accommodate those topics. We love input, so please let us know. One thing that I do want to share with you before we start is that Seville USA has started a new program, and it's our Community Connect. And what that is that we are trying to keep that spirit of Islam going with tradition, right? We want to have volunteers share their time with those that are in need of company, whether it's visiting the sick or whether it's checking in on someone who's home by themselves. So what we've done is we've compiled a list of volunteers, and from members in the community who will send us numbers of their loved ones or people that they know, their friends, that would like to have someone do a check-in call. Our volunteers do that. So they'll do a check-in call, they'll have a short conversation. It's not a mental health professional, it's a volunteer who cares about what that person's needs are, whether it's just saying salam, how are you, or if it's having a short conversation. So this is something that's beneficial to the elderly, because sometimes they're home alone, and it's nice for them to know that someone's just calling to check in on them. And of course the sick, when they're lying in bed not feeling so great, isn't it so nice to have someone just give them a call and say, how are you doing? So we wanted to introduce that program, and please feel free to either send us numbers of people who would benefit from the program, or if you'd like to volunteer, please let us know. Okay, so thank you so much for coming. I'm going to introduce you to our speaker, and I'm going to read this so that I don't miss anything. Rania Elbana, right there. Thank you, Rania. She is a certified paralegal, business management consultant, a founder of Small Claims California. With nearly a decade of experience, she specializes in business disputes, property management issues, and small claims procedures. Rania holds a bachelor's in business administration from San Diego State University and paralegal study certification from UC Riverside. In addition to leading Surgeons Second Option Incorporated as a CEO, she serves on the board of Dar al-Hurriya, the National Arab American Medical Association Auxiliary, and CARE California, where she advocates for community empowerment and civil rights. Fluent in English, Arabic, Rania is passionate about educating the community on understanding their rights and navigating legal and business processes effectively. So without any further ado, Rania, please join us on stage.
Assalamu alaikum. I was actually prepared to have a PowerPoint behind or on the side, but that's okay. We're going to improvise today, inshallah. So I'm happy that everybody's here. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Rania Al-Banna. Thank you for the nice introduction. Basically, what I would like to do today to, inshallah, make this very beneficial for everybody, let's have it like a little bit more interactive. So I would want to encourage, if anyone have any questions, or if they want to add something, or if they want to share experience similar to what I'm going to be covering, please feel free to share your experience, and let's all of us learn. My goal today is for us to leave with new information that will help each one of you know a little bit more about your rights and how you can handle certain situations that can be covered without seeking legal advice or help from an attorney. Before we start, I want to make a disclaimer that I'm not an attorney and I don't give legal advice. I'm just doing the presentation for educational purposes. I'm a paralegal, which means that my background is more business management and contracts, and I do property management. But then also, I have the paralegal certification that helps me navigate the legal system without going through attorneys. Now, a little bit of background about me as well. I did actually go to law school after I have 5 kids, and after number 4, I've decided to continue to go back to law school because, as you guys know, law school is a degree after a bachelor degree. And then after finishing the first year of law school, I got pregnant with my 5th child, which is my daughter who's sitting in the back, May. So, I consider her my liability. So then I stopped after a year of going to law school. So, alhamdulillah, what is it?
You shouldn't stop.
I shouldn't stop. That's what my mom tells me. But you know what? Also, there's quality of life, right? We need to navigate and figure out what is best for us to have also fun with our life. As also I mentioned, even I met Marva earlier today, I'm also a world traveler. I actually dedicated the last 10 years of my life traveling the world. I've been to 73 countries.
Wow.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah, my passport ran out of pages multiple times. Yes, and one thing with Sabil and what you guys do about public health and taking care of ourselves is my father got diagnosed with Alzheimer when he was 65 years old, and I've decided, life is too short. Do the things that you guys like early. Don't wait until you retire. Right. So I love traveling. I'm like, that was 10 years ago. I start traveling, with being mother to 5 kids, full household. You still can do it. It's manageable and it can be done. So that has been maybe I would consider it even more of a degree to my education is the travel that I have done and what I've learned from it. Okay, so about 2 years ago, a little bit also background about me. I did about maybe 25 years of contract specialist. I was a contract specialist selling the government medical and industrial products. And that gave me so much knowledge in terms of how to read the fine prints. Usually whenever you go and you sign a lease agreement, when you buy a car, whenever you do any kind of a legal transaction, there's a lot of documents that you end up signing. It's all small print. A lot of people don't read; they just sign and they're like, okay, we'll deal with it later. I became expert in reading those fine print. I became expert in finding loopholes around those fine prints and trying to see how I can get myself out of a contract or get myself into a contract and all that stuff. So that became my background in terms of specialties in terms of contracts. And then again, with my certification as a paralegal, 2 years ago, I established my company, which is a small claim specialist, where I do the entire state of California. I help people who would call me and they want to file a small claim case and they don't know how. I usually walk them through the process and I help them do it. And today, inshallah, we'll cover what is small claim is about, how it's done, what are the resources available to us, what each one of you, what kind of situations that each one of us can fall into a situation where I might need one day to file a small claim, or I might one day need to defend myself in a small claim, and how to do it. So one thing with the legal system in California, civil litigations is usually involved with money, and small claim actions falls under civil litigations, and it's usually involves a dispute that's related with money, and it has to be under $12,500 of the claim. So if, let's say, you guys have a claim under $12,000, you can go to small claim and you can self-represent yourself. Luckily, in small claim, lawyers are not allowed to represent you, or they're not even allowed to represent the other side. As a matter of fact, in small claim, judges would not allow paralegals or lawyers to go into the courtroom. only regular individuals, like one of you. So it's a very informal kind of a setting. I'm sure maybe you guys sometimes on TV you saw Judge Judy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the same. I just want you guys to know this is drama. I mean, it's similar, but it's not the same. This is like, they make it more like for TV shows. But small claim courts, they're usually spread all over the state. It depends on which county you live in. So if you live in Riverside County, you will look up which superior court that's close to your home. That usually the court that will handle those kind of cases that belongs to your residential address. So usually, it depends on where you live or you work. If you did the contract at that location, that's where the court that you usually go to. So we talked about the dollar amount, which is $12,500 is the limit that you can sue for in small claim. I'm gonna give you an examples. What do you think like examples would be of issues that people deal with every day that they, like when they go to small claim? What kind of examples do you think people would go to small claim for?
Getting deposit back after they left a rental property.
That's one of actually the most common cases that I get called for, is that people rented an apartment, they paid a security deposit, and when they moved out, their landlord said, get lost, I'm not giving you anything. And there are so many rules and there's so many tricks that I would love each one of you guys to start learning, whether you're a landlord or whether you're a tenant, how to navigate the system and know, because knowledge is power. When you know these kind of rules, it puts you in a very competitive platform that you will be able to protect your money and your asset and get your money back if you are a tenant. So that is one area that people use.
Eviction order under small claim?
What is it?
Eviction order.
Eviction, okay, of course. Eviction, again, that's landlords. If you're owner of a home and you need to evict the tenant who's not paying the rent, they go through eviction. Or if you are a tenant and went through some financial crisis and you're unable to pay the rent and your landlord is evicting you, you're gonna have to go through small claim. What is another example you think people go to small claim for?
I had membership to LA Fitness. I signed a contract for a year.
Yes.
Paid $250 for a whole year. That was a great thing.
Yes.
And then after 3 months, I started to see my credit card being charged. And I went to them and they said, oh, it's, they give you all these, like you said, the
disclaimers.
thing. It's only 3 months and then we're gonna add the $25 every month. And I said, you did not tell me that. He said, but you signed it. So it was terrible, but I did sign it. I did sign it.
Okay, so contract dispute, similar to what she mentioned, okay, that is another common visit to the small claim. What would be another one?
But sorry, did you go to court?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't, but I stopped my membership.
Do we have rights here? Sometimes, like when you're talking about properties, my
Yes.
daughter or father-in-law,
Yes.
he had rented a property in Glendale to
Yes.
somebody for a few years, and he was paying. But apparently, he leased to other people per room,
Yes.
and he heard about it from the neighbor.
Yes.
Like, So anyway, when he heard about it and he called the guy left the house, and the other one left,
Stayed.
except for one.
Yes.
But that one, he doesn't have contract with him.
Yes. He's a
doesn't-
squatter, yes.
But he didn't have any rights. He discovered that he has zero right. He had to pay $60,000 to her so she can leave the house and she wouldn't leave.
As a matter of fact,
So
yes.
what right do we have? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. There's okay, so everything, there's one thing that I love about this country and the legal system is that my advice to you guys is always, whenever you make any transactions, any deals, always remember that one day you might be standing in court and you need to present your case in front of a judge or a mediator. You need to be able to prove your claim. So my best advice, if we can leave today, that each one of you would leave with at least knowing that any transactions you do, always try to make it in writing. So what does that mean? Even two friends talking and like, okay, let's do this business deal, or let's do this kind of transactions, and you guys agreed on it verbally. Verbal contracts stand in court. It's a legal contract. But sometimes how you gonna prove it? So what my advice is, what I usually do is, if let's say I met with somebody and we had an agreement on doing some kind of a business transaction, I would take my phone and I would text that person and I would say, this is to confirm what we agreed on, 1, 2, 3, 4. Text is now became in writing. Or you can email them and say, this is a confirmation of our agreement. We agreed on 1, 2, 3, 4. So always remember that in order for you to succeed in court is you need to be able to prove what you're saying. Now judges are trained to go and see if who's lying and who's telling the truth and who's lying. This is the, but you're taking your risk on whoever's gonna be listening to you and who the judge is. And sometimes we deal with judges that might discriminate against us, especially if we walk in with a hijab or if we have an accent or if we need a translator. So always remember that anytime you make a deal, try to put it in writing, okay? That will protect you. Then the other thing is look through the fine print. So what you were mentioning with your example about the squatter, the person who ended up coming into the house who did not have a contract, they do have a lot of legal rights because believe it or not, in your home, if you have a guest, if you invite someone to come and stay in your home as a guest, that person, if they decide not to leave, you have to go through proper eviction.
But where is your right? That's what I'm saying, I mean.
There are rights, and there's with evictions and with getting a tenant out, it has a whole game of things. Like for example, you can't even turn the electricity on them, you can't turn
Yes,
the
you
water,
cannot,
you have to do proper notice, you have to send the sheriff, and it costs so much money.
Yes, yes.
It could be a
So
nightmare.
that means, I mean, I used to love this country, but really after hearing these things, I don't, I feel like I have a zero right.
La. You know what? Actually, it's not true. Let me tell you, this country is actually way better when it comes to civil cases than back home. I'm gonna give you an example. Back home, if you own an apartment and you rent it to someone, you can't evict them. You can't even increase. That's what is called khulu, right? Which is Islamically it's haram. You're giving someone money to get out of your property, okay? And that is very common thing because it's very difficult to evict someone. It's very difficult to increase the rent on them. And so basically the system here, I think it's fair. I think the system here, if you follow it and if you do things proper and you do things in writing, it's fair. So
How is it fair?
because
I don't.
because there's rules and because that person was allowed to come in. Now what you can do, I'll tell you why it's fair. With the example that you mentioned, once you get that person out, you can go after the person who got them in. So that first tenant that you said that your uncle got, you can sue them in court for all your damages, and that person will be
Well, it'll
responsible.
cost you a fortune with lawyers and stuff like that, I mean,
Today, what we're gonna be talking about is how you're gonna go to court, win a case without a lawyer,
Hmm.
okay? So, let's say, so we're gonna talk about, how many of you guys are owners and how many of you are renting as far as homes? I just wanna get an idea. Owners, or raise your hand if you're owners of a home. Okay, how many of you guys are renters? You rent? I just wanna know like who's dealing with like land, alright, just to get an idea. Another thing that actually is very common to all of you that many people don't know, credit card disputes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Wait, what was that?
credit card dispute. So for example, you made a purchase and you got something on your credit card, whether it's an online purchase, and you're not happy with the service that you got or the product you got, and you went and you asked for a refund, okay? And the merchant said, nope, it's a no return policy, for example. Then you went through your credit card dispute department and you say, look, I'm disputing this charge. I bought, I'm gonna give you some examples of cases that I worked on or things that I had to deal with personally. In one of my trips in Italy, I bought a tour for $600 for me and the group that I was in, and the tour provider never showed up, and the company that took my fees refused to refund the money. So this is a transaction even outside the US, right? I asked for a refund, they said, no, we're not gonna give you money. I went to my credit card and I filed a dispute with them for the $600. My credit card said, it's very automatic. Have you guys ever done credit card disputes?
Yes.
Okay, even that, as long as you are detailed in how you submit those kind of claims, you can easily lose the claim. So I'm an expert on this. I did it properly. I submitted the claim. The credit card company took 60, 90 days. They came back and they said, sorry, you lost your dispute. We still believe the merchant. It was unfortunately American Express card. American Express usually side with the merchant more than the customer. So I said, okay, no problem. I filed a small claim case against the company that is Actually, the company is registered in the US. It was called Viator, that sells tours all over the US, all over the world. But any company that sells online, they have to have an agent of service for them in the state of California by law. So I looked up their agent of service in the state of California. I served that agent of my small claim case, believe it or not, $600. It was about the principle of it. I served them, and then 30 days later, I get a contact from the company. They said, okay, we're willing to settle. We'll pay you your fees. They paid me, they ended up paying me double because with all the court fees that I had to pay, they're like, okay, fine. But let's say I went to court, I'm confident that I will be able to succeed on this case. Why? Because I bought a service, the merchant failed to provide it to me, and I paid for it. The credit card company failed to give me my money back. And so there's a course of, change of actions. So I want you guys to learn that there are ways of how you can get your money back if you ever felt you got scammed by somebody. I'll give you an example. My son went to the mall one time, and there's this company, I don't know how they would allow them to open in the malls. They sell shoes, and they don't put prices on their shoes, and a lot of teenagers, they go into the mall, and they like the shoes, they're like, okay, we wanna buy it, and it ended up being $700 for the shoes. It was like I don't know how, it's like, they consider like a consignment shoe company. So anyway, they end up scamming him with the shoes that was not worth the money. Immediately he realized that, you know what, I'm not gonna pay this money for the shoes, so he went and asked for a refund. They're like, sorry, we can't get your money back. So then he came back home upset. He was like, there's a credit card charge on this, what am I gonna do? Luckily, with that particular company, I was able to do a credit card dispute, and we were able to get our money back. But had that company disputed that transaction, the next course of action again would be small claim. So that would be another example. Now, car accidents is another common issue that I'm gonna give you an example how car accidents, now everybody have insurance. They're supposed to have insurance. Sometimes I've had clients who basically they forgot to pay their car insurance for the month, and their son or daughter get in a car accident and they're not insured. And then now look what they're gonna do. Now, the other insurance company is suing them. They're suing the parents and the kid for the damages. And usually when insurance companies sue, they don't sue in small claim. They go into the civil litigation. So it becomes a difficult situation to handle. But one thing that I can share with you with a small claim and car accidents, I had an example with actually my mom. She was driving one time going back to San Diego. My family lived in San Diego, and she got in a car accident with a very small accident. The damages were under $2,000 of damages. Nobody got hurt. She has insurance. The other lady has insurance. We exchanged insurances information. Her insurance company contacted our insurance. My mom's was Geico. Geico said it was my mom's fault. Based on the fact of how she was driving, we felt like, no, it wasn't her fault. This is one area that a lot of people don't know, that this is an opportunity or an area for them that they can challenge. Because if your insurance company says it's your fault, or the other side says it's your fault, you're really you're left under the mercy of the insurance company, right? Mm-hmm. No. So we filed a small claim against the other lady that she ended up hitting. We served her. We went to court. My mom, me and her went to court. And one thing nice is about when you go to small claim is that lawyers are not allowed to be present. So guess what? The insurance company could not send their lawyer to defend her. That lady had to go herself to defend her case. My mom went. Her English is limited. I was her translator. So I told my mom, I said, Mama, just go explain to the judge exactly what happened. Take your time explaining everything in Arabic, and then, I will take it from there. So alhamdulillah, we went. She explained to the judge what happened. I explained, I brought a diagram. I showed the judge the street. I showed, again, that's one thing also that I would like to also invite you is also do your research before. Right now, we have so much resources available to us online, whether it's on Google search, whether it's ChatGPT, whether it's there's so much available where you can put scenarios in and find out, am I in the right, am I in the wrong, what's the rules? So in her situation, as she was going straight and the lady was coming into a stop sign, We looked it up the law, that the law says when two people stop at a stop sign at the same time, the person on the right has the right of the way. So we had the whole thing explained. We go to court, we were ready, we were professional, we had diagrams. We presented the case to the judge. Guess what? The judge said, okay, I'm gonna take my time to review this. The judge took her papers. 3 days later, we get a judgment in our favor for the accident. They found that my mom was not at fault. So immediately, our insurance and the other lady's insurance, they're like, okay, her insurance went and paid us the entire amount. I wanna give you a crazy scenario with this particular case. 3 months down the road, the two insurance company sent my mom's accident case to a third party to review it. And the third party said it was my mom's fault.
Oh.
The insurance company came back to me and they said, to my mom, they said, you know, we had a third party review it and it's still your fault. But because you went to small claim and because you had a judgment in your favor, Geico's gonna pay everything back to Farmers Insurance. But on our records and everybody's records, it's not your fault. You see how that happened?
Wow.
By, you know, and this is again, this is an example of like how sometimes like, you know, going and just like researching the things, going and taking the extra step and not surrendering to what somebody tells you. Okay, yo, just my insurance company told me it's not my fault, you know, and I'm gonna go. Go ahead.
Why would they bother to outsource it to a third party and get a second, if they're gonna just abide by the small claims?
You know, this was an interesting case. I've never seen something like this ever happen before. But this is an example because I guess among insurance companies, they do have third party that comes and rule on certain cases because at the end of the day, insurance companies end up paying for all these losses. But had we not went to small claim and put this on record, it would have been on her record that it was her fault. So that's another example. So I'm gonna go through some of the stuff that I had. So we have, of course, unpaid money. Yes,
This has happened to my son.
yes.
He was selling iPhones a long time ago, and he found this Middle Eastern man that was Lebanese, that was, wanted to work with him. They wanted to work with each other. They started a relationship, and my son had text messages about the selling the iPhone. Well, he scammed him in $60,000.
Are you serious? He scammed your son?
My son,
Ya Allah.
$60,000.
He
So
took
he
phones
took
from
the
him?
phones without giving him money.
Ya Allah.
So my son went to LA where his business is, and he didn't wanna pay, he didn't show up.
Yes.
So he went to small courts claim, and he won the case, however, he never collected.
But of course, he only got $12,000 judgment, not 60,000.
Right, he took it for
So that's one thing. Okay, unfortunately, lawyers are charging now $500 to $800 an hour. There are some good lawyers out there that will take some. Okay, now if lawyers take your case on a contingency basis, then they end up collecting when you end up collecting. But a lot of times when it's contract and money, lawyers will not take your case on a contingency. They only take a contingency if it's medical malpractice or like a car accident or like. But in this case, it's really unfortunate. So I will give you ideas on how the collection. Yes, you have a question.
My husband had an accident recently. Thanks God he's fine, but he lost his car, I believe. So right now he's waiting the police report.
Yes.
So can we go to that small, court, regardless of the police report?
So the police report,
result?
the police report takes like a month to come out.
Okay.
It's an extra document to say what happened.
Uh-huh.
But absolutely, you should, you don't need to wait. If you know the other sides, when an accident, okay, let's talk about accidents. Okay, this is a good scenario that I go through with my family, my kids, everybody. God forbid, you get in a car accident. Number one, say alhamdulillah, inshallah nobody got hurt. Number one thing is take yourself out of harm. So if you're on the freeway, okay, try to pull over to the side so that way you don't cause any extra harm. But I always tell my kids, take surveillance of everything. Put your phone on camera and try to take as many videos as possible. Your photo, surveillance, it's very important. But at the same time, I do have a sad, unfortunate story of two youngsters in the community in Rancho Cucamonga during Ramadan. They were, during suhoor, they went out and they got in a car accident on the freeway. And the kid called his mom. He said, "Mom, I just got in an accident. Everything's fine. It's just a bunch of cars got hit." And then, believe it or not, half an hour later, the son was not answering his phone. He ended up, a car came and hit him on the freeway while he was standing outside and killed him. So I always tell my kids, God forbid, if you guys get in a car accident, as much as it's important to take surveillance and videos and evidence of the case, your safety is number one. I don't care about the money. Safety is number one. So go on the side, put yourself in a safe position. Don't just stay in the middle of the street just because you want to document everything. But let's talk about accidents if it's like on the regular street. Again, safety is number one. Two, always have your phone, go and put it on video and take a video of the entire surrounding. Try to gather if there's any witnesses around. It's very important to have any witnesses. Then if the police agree to come, sometimes police would not agree to come if it's a small accident. Collect evidence from the other side. Take a picture of it on your phone, document it on a piece of paper. Always have all these documentations with you. Never admit fault. Another thing, never admit fault. Never say, "Oh, I'm sorry. Are you okay?" Say, "Oh, you're okay." But never admit fault. Never say, "Oh my God, I wasn't paying attention. It's my fault." Oh my God, don't. Stay content, be calm, and just take as much as information as possible. And then when you go home, the first thing you need to do is call your insurance and file a claim. Now, if the damage is minimal and you don't want to put it on, you don't want to make a claim, you can bypass a system. But I just want you to know that now the system, even car repair companies, they immediately make reports on your car. So whether you make a claim with your insurance or not is irrelevant. It's gonna go on the facts of the car. So I personally, I would always make a claim with the insurance company, and then I would let them know that maybe I might not have you guys pay, but I'm letting you know, I'm giving you notice, an accident happened, and here's what we know so far. The next step, like in your husband's situation, you have the other guy's information, so it's the other guy's fault,
Or we don't know yet. I mean, everyone
What-
said it's the other side.
Everybody's, but okay, but what do you think from your husband? What is he saying?
He says he did it unconsciously. The other guy hit from the back because they had a discussion before, like 5 minutes before, on the highway.
Was it like a road rage kind of?
Yeah, they were just
A zigzagging.
yeah,
And then,
exactly.
but the guy hit him from the back, or he hit you?
from the back.
So your husband,
But my husband was changing a lane, and then the guy just touched him, but because they were in the highway and they had a
Yeah.
speed, my husband had to spin,
Spin.
and then he was just overlapping the other car. He just hit a truck, and then he was able to stop.
so then your husband hit another car and the car behind. So you can see there's more cars involved in this situation. And so definitely this one, I would leave it to the insurance company. And then another thing too that I have, by the way, in all our cars, dash cameras is another thing that is always good to have as an extra protection. Use it when you need it. If the accident's your fault, you don't have to provide this information to anyone, but at least for your kids, for the family, have that.
I disagree. If it's your fault, by law, if you have a dash camera, it's the first question you're insured. I went through this.
Yeah.
Someone won $3 million in my small accident that I had with them.
But the dash
And
cam, you can always,
Your phone calls,
yeah.
anything that your camera or your technology in your car is available, it is by law
You
available
need to
for
provide
them
it.
as soon as the accident
Right,
happens.
now, there's always loopholes on how you can not be able to provide, especially if it's a camera with a memory stick. But now, let's say, even if not only you have the dash camera, there are so many cars around you that have cameras. Teslas around us all over. Teslas are taking videos of from all angles. So there's a Tesla around, it most likely captured what happened. We're getting to a time and in an era where there's going to be cameras everywhere on every corner, where we have like even facial recognitions, where it's going to be very difficult even to fight if you got a ticket and say to the cop, yes, I did stop at the stop sign or whatever. There's going to be surveillance everywhere that is going to basically hold us into more credibility and more accountability. So I personally like to have the dash cameras in our cars just as an extra protection to just give us more understanding of what happened. Recently, my son was driving a Tesla and going up to Big Bear, and there was ice condition, and the car actually spun and went down into a mountain. Thank God there was a tree that stopped him. And alhamdulillah, no injury, but the car got totaled. But we had so much footage of what happened from that car. It's crazy, from all angles. And not just that, even the car captured videos prior to the accident where we saw the city was cleaning the road with a machine, and then the machine decided to pull to the side and let all the cars through, and then all the cars spun and went into the mountain. So then, now we have a case, if we want, against the city for failing to maintain the road because that employee pulled over and let all the cars go, and then all the cars end up falling into the ditch. So again, having evidence is always good in winning your court cases. So go ahead.
Yeah, we have something going on right now with my daughter, whose car is under our insurance.
Yes.
And it's been under our insurance for 7 years. She never claimed anything. And then she had a little accident that really, we could have fixed it without reporting it, but the other party wanted to report it to insurance. We said, okay. So we went through insurance, and then the insurance said, oh, you're not insured because your parents' name is not under your registration. So then we said, okay, how come you accepted her and you gave her an insurance card, and we've been paying for the last 7 years. We go, okay, the only way we could pay is if you go to DMV and you add your parents' name under your insurance and your
Under registration,
so
interesting.
we could go ahead and pay.
Yeah.
And I said, no, don't do that. Just fight it, because we've been paying for 7 years.
Yes.
And, if they didn't want insurance, they should have said we cannot insure. But you can't insure for 7 years, and then when it's time for you to pay, then
Exactly,
you say, oh,
exactly. Unfortunately,
right insurance.
yes.
Isn't her name on the policy though? Because usually they
It's
send
on
you
the policy,
Yeah.
but it's not, our name is not under her registration.
So you don't-
and
yes.
it's our insurance.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense, but
Yes.
that's what they told us.
Is it different?
Money with no question asked, and then when they
Yes,
then
yes,
they start
yes,
asking.
yes.
Yes.
Is your daughter living in a different address than you guys?
No.
Same address? Wow, that's interesting, yeah.
I have similar story, like we have family trust, and I have 3 boys under 25, which is the high risk driver.
Yes.
So I'm paying a lot of money for my car insurance and everything. And recently I knew that if I have a family trust, even if I have insurance under our name, is not good enough. If something happened, which is I've been paying like this for 8-9 years, if any of my kids went through accident, as long as the trust name was not added to the insurance, we are not covered. None of us.
Yeah. But do you have the cars under the trust?
No, we didn't have the car under the trust. We have the car under our name,
Yeah.
and we have insurance.
Then
But
that's,
apparently, that's not good enough. If you have a trust, your trust should be under the insurance. The insurance will need
but
to be
that's
added.
for the homes, but the trust is not gonna be meant, like, the trust has nothing to do with your cars and the insurance, so I don't think that's gonna be an
No,
issue.
it is related. If you have an umbrella, your insurance
Oh,
will have to
you're
be.
talking about the umbrella coverage?
Yes,
Okay, but not the insurance, the car insurance.
the car insurance will be part of it because the umbrella covered the car.
Okay.
In case the accident is more than whatever your limit.
I see, yes. That is actually a good thing that you mentioned, that if you guys have a trust and, your insurance company, a lot of times needs to be listed, the trust need to be listed with the insurance, otherwise it won't cover you. And like you mentioned, a lot of times with insurance companies, they don't mind taking your money, taking your premium, and you would be paying for years. And then when something goes wrong, then when they open the record and they start looking, and then they will find loopholes to not cover you. So that's why, if, let's say you bought a life insurance policy and you're like, oh great, I was able to get it and they didn't know that I am diabetic. You're fooling yourself, because God forbid if something happened later on and you're relying on that policy, they're going to ask for medical records, they're gonna find out, and then they're just gonna say all the money you paid, you'll lose it, and you don't get any of the benefits. So it's very important with insurance companies is to, again, read the fine prints. One thing that happened also personally with me is, this has been like very common. You know, our house got robbed in 2010. We had home insurance, and you know, we had the cops took them 5 hours to come and do to give us a police report of what's missing. And subhanallah, you know, I'm like, okay, before I go and file a claim with my insurance company, let me read our policy and see what we're covered for. I want to know what I'm covered for. And basically, I read it and I was shocked, because you think when you buy home insurance, you're like, okay, I'm covered. You know, if anything happens, the coverage is like very limited. They give you $1,000 for jewelry, $1,000 for cash, $1,000 only for certain. They put so much limitations. So, and a lot of times people don't pay attention. They're like, oh, I'm covered. You know, I have insurance. So yeah.
I just want to tell you, there's a church next door, and they're telling them to stop the music, but they're not supposed to start it.
Oh yeah.
Just
Yeah.
about.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
So can you explain more about the trust and the car insurance? Because I'm confused. I thought trust is for when somebody passes away.
The trust, yes, it looks like she have a trust where she have her properties under trust, but she has an umbrella coverage. The
What does
umbrella
that
cover,
mean?
the umbrella insurance is you have car insurance, you have house insurance, and then you buy an umbrella coverage, which is usually like a $2 million or $1 million coverage that covers everything that you own and covers you personally. That in case, God forbid, something happens, someone comes and sue you, and those policies don't cover. The limit is like, you know, let's say your car insurance limit is $100,000, and then the accident was for $300,000. You know, then the umbrella coverage kicks in and pays the difference. Because the umbrella policy covers homes and it's under trust, it got flagged. But usually, if you don't have the umbrella coverage, your car insurance and the cars are usually not under trust. They're not related to the trust.
So let's say that the car accident, the insurance that we have 100,000.
Yes.
And we hit like a very expensive car.
Yes.
So
They
the
go.
insurance is, they're
no.
gonna come after us.
Yes. That's, by the way, you know how many clients I got where they only have $35,000 coverage on their cars, and they feel like, oh yeah, we have insurance, and then their son or they get in a car accident and there's not enough to cover. They go after you personally. So if you own assets, the best thing is to have umbrella coverage. The best is to have a high coverage for car insurance and for home. Don't get the cheaper policies. Otherwise, it's gonna haunt you later on. Now, if you don't own assets, then you got nothing to worry about. They could go take you to court and get a claim against you, but then collecting on it is a different story. So it's a very common mistake where people get car insurance and they get the least amount, only what's required by law, like the least amount they get. I highly don't agree, especially now in California, with all cars are so expensive around us. If they end up hitting multiple cars or if someone gets injured, I personally have $1 million on all our car insurance coverage. And if you actually look at the difference, it's not really that much of a difference. You think you're gonna pay a lot more, but it's not more. So always go for the highest coverage is available.
I had experience, I got sued for 3 million, so I have to add for this.
Yeah.
And he won, bumper to bumper.
And he got 3 million?
Yes, he got 3 million, through the insurance, through the umbrella, because he found out that we have umbrella, that's why.
Wow.
But another thing, $15 more to add motorcycle to your insurance, $15 more. So imagine, so my lawyer, after we lost and everything, they told us, let's visit your insurance, and just for $15, you could add cover for your motorcycle accident if you hit someone. It's not covered usually in your insurance, so you have to make sure you add that.
You mean motorcycle? Was he on a motorcycle or?
If you hit someone on a motorcycle, like there is an extra insurance that you have
Really?
to buy
Okay.
to cover that.
Yeah.
And that's like extra $10 to $15 maximum.
Really?
So
Okay.
regular insurance don't have motorcycle?
They have like a lower entry, but $250, depending on your insurance, so you have to revisit. But ours was very minimum. We increased it like for $15 more.
Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous, especially if they're not covered at all, like, they have no
Yeah.
metal around them.
Yeah.
If they're gonna get an accident, they're
Yeah.
prone to get
I
more
know.
hurt.
That's true. So you have to really, like what she's saying, like you have to like study your insurance from now on.
Yeah, the problem is, there's a lot of fine can do your bathrooms for $10,000. Usually they would say, okay, give me, a lot of times they deal cash, a lot of the contractors. One mistake that I notice a lot of people don't do is they don't put things in writing. I know sometimes the contractors don't put things in writing. So I would like you guys to learn how to always, again, remember, put things in writing. If let's say I'm gonna have Muhammad Construction, somebody from the community came in and he's like, oh, he's reliable, he knows how to do bathrooms. Okay, he came in, I liked his presentation, he showed me his work, I looked it up on Facebook page, whatever. Okay, can you put it in writing? Let's put it in writing. One thing that I recommend is putting a clause for delays, because a lot of times contractors will tell you, okay, I'll build you a bathroom in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, 2 months, and then you have still dirt in your bathroom piling up and you're depressed, right? So I would put a penalty clause for delay. Put it in writing, and then let me know what is it that you're covered. I always prefer to work with contractors who are licensed, but that doesn't mean it's always the case. If you really have heard good things about this person and they're reliable, you check them out, they have good sources, okay? Put things in writing. Try not to deal with cash. That's another thing that I advise everybody, is not to, if you want to pay someone, Zelle them the money. Now it's very rarely you're writing checks. Zelle them the money or pay with a credit card. If you pay with a credit card, you're protected, because again, you have an extra layer. If something goes wrong, you can dispute it with a credit card first. It will save you the time from going to small claim. But if not, Zelle them the money. Don't give a lot of cash out. Document everything. Ask for receipts. Put penalty clauses at the end of the contract that in case the bathroom is not delivered as expected in 3 weeks, there's going to be $100 per day penalty that we're going to charge. If, let's say, you got the contractor completely screwed up the bathroom is not done right, it's not professional, then small claim would be the action. Before you go to small claim, the first step that needs to be done is there needs to be a demand letter. You need to send a demand letter to whoever owes you money. What is a demand letter? It's something that you need to put in writing. Demand letter. Demand letter. So what's a demand letter? Demand letter is a letter basically asking whoever owes you money that you're giving them 10 days, 15 days, 20 days to pay you the money, and why. One thing that I love, and it's very important about the demand letter, is let's say a lot of the transactions were done verbally, and you don't have everything in writing. Demand letter comes very helpful. Why? Because you end up putting all the chronological history of the event of what happened in that letter, and make it as long as possible, detailed. On this day, we called you. On this day, you came to our house. On this day, you gave us the estimate for the bathroom. On this day, we gave you the deposit. On this day, you started working. On this day, we discovered that the bathroom is defective. We paid you this amount. We're asking for $5,000 to be returned back to us in 10 days. You send this letter certified mail. You keep the receipt for your record, and you give them 10 days. Usually, a lot of times when they see those demand letters, they take you seriously and they will end up taking actions. But if, let's say, he ignored that step, then the next step would be is to go and file a small claim at court. One thing also that I want to mention with small claim is that, let's say you have a language barrier. Your English is not so strong. Number one is like you can come out to either somebody like me as a paralegal where I can help you fill out the paperwork, or you can go to the court. They have a self-help desk. They can help you fill out the papers for free. File the papers with the court. Ask for an interpreter. There are interpreters who speak your language, whether it's Urdu, Arabic, whatever language a translator will be with you during your case. If, let's say, you cannot afford the fees for the court, usually the fees are between $30 to $100, there's a fee waiver. Very simple form that needs to be filled out. If you're taking Medi-Cal, or if you're getting any government assistance, or if you're low income, you can fill out the form, fill it up with the court paperwork. It will get approved the same day. You pay nothing. Okay? So the system is very simple. It's easy. It's accessible to everyone. They just need to know how to do it and how to enforce it. After, let's say, so this guy, we gave him the demand letter, we gave him 10 days, he still did not give us the money back. Sometimes they would call and say, okay, you know what, I agree, I screwed up. Can you make it on a payment plan? I cannot give you $5,000. Okay, all right, I can work with you. Let's make a payment plan. You make a payment agreement plan where you also clearly say that we agreed on this day, you're gonna pay me $5,200 a month, and that if you end up not paying at any moment, I will go to court and I will win my case right away because you're agreeing, and you will pay my legal fees. You put a whole contract and you make him sign it, you sign it and you document it, and then you start the payment plan. But let's say he ignores it, he's like, no, I'm not paying you anything. At this point, you go to court, you file your case with the court, you pay the fees, now you have a document saying that in 2 months, I have a court date. December 1st is my court date at 8:30 in the morning at Corona Superior Court, for example. You dress up professionally, okay? There's people who go to court wearing shorts. They're not allowed to go in with shorts. There are people who go in with tank tops. Like, alhamdulillah, with us Muslims are always conservative, so you got nothing to worry about. You're not allowed to go with a hat on, but now with the hijab, of course, they don't say anything. But you can't have your glasses on like this. You have to take it down. You can't chew gum. You have to turn off your phone. You make copies of all your documents, 3 copies. One for you, one for the judge, and one for the other side. And then you go to court at 8:30 in the morning. If he shows up, great. If he doesn't show up, it's even better. Now, but before court date, what is it? So you got the document, you got the court papers that says December 1st is your court date. What do you do with this paper? You're supposed to serve it. You're supposed to serve it to him. You're supposed to have someone who was over the age of 18 years old, not you. I can't go to Muhammad Construction and say, you're being served, I'm suing you in court. You have to have someone else. It could be your son who's over 18, it could be your husband, it could be a friend, it could be a process server company, it could be the sheriff. You can have the sheriff go do it. Someone has to go present it to Muhammad Construction and say, we have bad news for you, you're being served with a court. You don't have to say anything. As a matter of fact, just give him the papers and leave and sign the document. Now he got served with the court on December 1st. December 1st comes, you dress up professionally, you have the 3 copies of all your records. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. So how do you prove that you served the other person? Because there's a lot of dispute. Oh, I didn't get the paper.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so basically, okay. Well, I'm gonna explain to you how to do a process server. I have a case on December 1st. I have the papers with me right now. Okay, it's on December 1st, and I'm serving. Now, if I'm serving a company, it's different than serving an individual. So, if it's an individual, if Muhammad Construction, he's working as, not as a corporation, then you need to serve him as an individual, right? So, I have a lot of options. I can call a process server company for $70. I pay the $70. The process server company, they make copies of my court documents, and they will give it to him, and they will fill up the forms for you. Or, you can go in your car, drive to Muhammad's home, and then have your husband, your daughter, your friend, get out of the car, take the document, ring the doorbell, he opens the door, say, this is for you, and then just say, I'll leave. That's it. And then you, like your husband, he would fill a form, he would say, I, so-and-so, on October 15 at 8:30 in the morning, I was at this address and I gave this guy this.
Does it have to sign?
And he signs it, her husband. Her husband. No, the person who she's suing, she doesn't need to say a word. She can just throw the paper in front of him and leave. You know what? I know some people, they take flowers. They deliver. They ring the doorbell with flowers. You think it's a flower delivery, and then you get flowers with a court paper served.
They trick them.
Yeah, so that way they would open the door. But somebody, he could leave. He could open the door, open the garage. He's leaving to work. You just throw the papers in front of his car, and you leave. But of course, again, as long as you are personally not serving him, it has to be someone who's over the age of 18 other than you. And that person needs to sign. That's the one that you need the signature, not the person you're suing. Okay? So if, let's say, I go to Muhammad's house and I'm serving him and his wife opens the door, what happens? No problem. Your husband or your daughter will give the papers to the wife and will document, I gave it to a female person with this characteristic and so on, and then make an extra copy and drop it in the mail. It's considered substitute service. So that means the original person was not served, but another adult person in his household or in his business got served, and then we mailed a copy in the mail. Okay, so that is usually number one reason why court cases gets extended, is because people are not serving properly. Like when you go to court and you sit and you listen to cases, a lot of times the judge is going through a lot of cases is because people did not serve properly. On the other side, let's say you're being sued. You just find out that someone is suing you in small claim. If they did not properly serve you, their case is not gonna go through. Don't go to court, even if they tell you, oh, you're being served, just because they have to properly serve you in order for the case to continue. Does that make sense? Like I know I have a client who was walking or running in the streets with her dog, and another lady was running and she ended up hitting, they ended up like hitting each other, and then the dog knocked her out on the ground. So she sued this guy. It was actually a guy. She sued the guy and his dog because she ended up getting injury from that situation. So she walked to their home and she said, you need to pay me $10,000 or I'm gonna take you to court. And they said no. Then she filed a small claim action against them, but until today she did not properly serve them. And they keep calling me, like, Rania, what should we do? Should we go to court? I'm like, dude, if you did not get properly served, then you don't need to show up. Someone has to properly serve you, give you the court documents and tell you that you're being served on that day. Does that make sense? So if you don't know, consult with an attorney or contact a paralegal or call the court and find out. You know, don't just assume things. So that is another situation. So, you know, now I'm standing in court. So we're gonna go through the procedures. Okay, it's December 1st, 8:30 in the morning, we show up. And so when you go to court, you're gonna look, there's different rooms, and you're gonna see your name on one of the cases. You show up, you're sitting, you know, with all your documents. The court goes through all the list of people that shows up. Now, I mentioned if both parties shows up to court, you and the person suing, great. That's when you end up going through mediation. That's the first step that the courts do. Before you stand up in front of the judge would say, we're gonna send you through mediation and then see if you guys can work it out informally. I love those kind of settings. Always take them, take advantage of them, because it's gonna make things less formal. It's gonna make the anxiety less. Go in and talk to someone. So the court will appoint someone, like either an attorney or a retired judge. Will sit down with you guys in a private room and they will discuss the case and try to work out some kind of a fair resolution between the two sides. If it doesn't work, no problem, you still go in front of the judge. Now, if the other side doesn't show up, you showed up, you're the one who's suing, and the other guy does not show up, the judge will still make you don't win your case automatically. The judge will still make you present your case. So you will stand up in front of the judge, you will tell Your Honor, I wanted to remodel my bathrooms, I hired this company, I paid him a deposit, he came in, I gave him $5,000, here's pictures of before and after, here's the damages, you need to prove your case, and here's a copy of my demand letter, I sent it to him, telling him that, you know, he didn't do good, and I am requesting my money back, and he's refusing to give me my money back. So you present all your case, your evidence, the judge is gonna ask you questions, and then the judge will issue a ruling. Why? Because the other guy did not show up to defend himself. If, let's say you go and your case is all made up, the judge is not gonna give it to you. But if everything makes sense, then you are going to get a judgment against that person for whatever amount you're claiming, or sometimes before, less or more. Now, but if he shows up, then the judge is gonna say, okay, why don't you defend your case? He's gonna come and say, Your Honor, I did go to her house, I did remodel her bathroom, here's a copy of the pictures, here's what I put, here's the material. In my opinion, I did a good job. I've helped clients in the past, auto repair companies. They got sued by a lady who claiming that the company damaged her car. And sometimes, wallah, you see, you will encounter people who actually take advantage of situations. Like they go to dental offices and they claim injuries, or they go into a supermarket and they slip and fall and claim injuries. Some of these people, this is their bread and butter. That's how they make their money. Unfortunately, it's really sad. So this lady, she knew what she was doing. She went to this mechanic shop and to take her car to set them up. The car needed a transmission, but she went for an oil change, and then she claimed other damages. The mechanic company, I was helping the mechanic company to defend themselves. They went to court, they presented their evidence, they were very, very professional. She came in, tank top, with her boyfriend speaking, and she had all these video recording and all that stuff. SubhanAllah, the judge read through her and what she was trying to say, and she lost her case. So I think the system is fair. You see cases from here and here, and depends on what you're dealing with. But at the same time, it could also fall into one of you guys taking a car to a mechanic shop and the mechanic shop, scamming you. It depends on who you're dealing with. But my best advice is that if something goes wrong, communicate and try to communicate in writing. Put it, like if let's say you took your car to somebody or it's a contractor or whatever it is, and something goes wrong, send an email, send a text message, send a demand letter, and if things are not working, then the next step would be is to go to small claim. And then once you go into small claim and you get a judgment, the judgment is good for 10 years. You can renew it for another 10 years, and then you can, with collection, do you guys know how you can collect on a judgment? Does anyone know?
Know how to what?
Collect on a judgment. So let's say I got a judgment for $5,000 against someone. What do I do with it?
I pay it.
Huh?
I pay it.
You pay, you're the nice one.
She goes
because you don't, there's a lot of people who know the system where even if they get a judgment on them, they don't pay it. So then what do? It takes a whole skills of techniques to be able to make that person pay. One area is wage garnish. So if let's say you're working, let's say you work, you work for Sabil and you're getting a paycheck and there's a judgment against you, I would serve Sabil the copy of the judgment and say, we have a judgment for $1,000, then they start deducting it from your paycheck. So if let's say you're suing someone and you know that they're employed, great, you can get the money through their wage garnishment. The other option would be is that if you know which bank they bank at. Let's say they gave you a check in the past, Bank of America, the account number, great. Then you can go to Bank of America and you say, here's a copy of the judgment, I need my money. And then they will take money from their bank account. Okay, another one is if let's say they own property, you can go put a lien on their property. That's usually the best one because that one you leave it for many years to come and it will continue to grow. If they ever need to refinance their house, sell their house, they have to pay your judgment first. I had one judgment against, I had tenants that I had to evict one time and we took them to court and we got a judgment against them. Never paid me. I thought I will never get the money back. One of the adults in that household was in the military. Guess what? The military would not allow anyone in with a judgment on him. He called me, he said, can I meet you at court? I need to pay you because I need to, join the military and I'm not allowed to have a judgment against me. I felt bad. He had to pay the entire judgment even though it wasn't all his fault. But, you see what I'm saying? So there's always ways on how to, so collecting is a different story. Winning a judgment is one thing, collecting is a different story. One thing that I wanted to talk also about, yes?
Sorry, not to interrupt you, but I just wanted to clarify one thing. When you've been talking about making a contract, right? If it is a written contract, did you need to notarize it? Did it need to be something official, or it could just be typed up and signed? That's number one. And number two, when you're sending the contract via a text or an email, do you need an acknowledgement from them saying, I agree or disagree?
Very good. Excellent question. So contracts can be written on a napkin. Contracts verbally are enforceable legally, okay? So What are the best contracts? The best contracts are the one that are typed, so that way it's not handwritten, it's clear, all the numbers clear. It can be sent via text, WhatsApp, fax, in person, by email. Now, how does a contract get formed? I give you an offer. Let's say, let's use the bathroom remodeling as an example. I'm the contractor, I say, I'll do your bathroom for $5,000. I gave you an offer. You come back and you tell me, I accept. I want you to do it for $5,000. Now contract is formed. I gave you an offer, and there's a bathroom that needs to be done, and you accept it. Now, legally, we have a contract, even though it's all verbal. So then, I need to do a contract. As a contractor, I will print out your information, the address of the property, what is it that we're doing for $5,000, and I would say, please sign and date. You don't need to have it notarized. Sign, you don't have to have witnesses, you sign and date. I sign and date, the contract is enforced now in writing, right? Now, let's say you need to make modification later on. You're like, oh no, you know what, now I want you to do 2 bathrooms instead of 1. Just add to it, just send, okay, let's add another clause to the contract that, we're doing 2 bathrooms instead of 1, now it's $10,000. As long as you do it in writing, everything is done, you're good to go. Did I answer your question? Now, the notarization, this is needed for one thing that if I can also, other than small claim, that I would like to maybe give as a tip to each one of you to help you is that one of the things that that I would recommend each one of you is to do like some kind of a power of attorney, like either a limited or a general power of attorney. Those kind of documents do need to be notarized, for example. Other than that, not really much other items that I can think of that right now that you need to have it notarized. Even court documents, none of it needs to be notarized, okay? But yeah, one thing that I always mention when it comes to trust, if like people don't have a trust for their homes, at least have a will. Draft a will that, again, it can be written on a napkin and it will work. I'm gonna share with you an example of a client that I'm helping that actually came through Khat Naziha, that I've been helping because it's been a tragic situation with her story. But it's very important that each one of you today, if you guys leave today also, please make sure that you have a will written, especially if you have minor kids at home. It's so important because you don't know what will happen, God forbid, if something happened to one of you or to the husband and wife, or even if, let's say, there's a divorce and it's a single mom, it's even worse. You need to have a lot of these documents done. But have a will, and because if the trust is too expensive, do a will. And then the second thing is that if you own bank accounts, any of you with bank accounts, please add beneficiaries to your bank account, not signers, beneficiaries. Go into your bank in person and add your kids as beneficiaries. God forbid if something happened to you, whether you have a trust or not, it's very easy to bypass it, where you can go to, the beneficiaries can take the death certificate and go to the bank and access the funds right away. If you have life insurance policy, if you have 401k plans, please make sure you have beneficiaries added to them. A lot of times people don't pay attention to these things. And it will save, and it will create so much easy transaction, God forbid, if something goes wrong. And a lot of times people don't want to talk about death and don't want to talk about what happened, God forbid, if something, or disability. I will share with you one example. In our community, we had a professor who went into a coma, Muslim, Egyptian professor at Loma Linda University, went into a coma for 6 months. And his wife was a big spender, and he took her off the bank account. He would give her allowance, like cash or transfer to her bank account every month of how much money she needs. So he would transfer, this is like, this story is like almost 15 years ago. He would send like $2,000 a month for her to do the grocery. And his bank account is by himself, and he was putting all the money in it. The guy got a heart attack and then went into in a coma for 6 months. So he's not dead. So if he's dead, the wife can take his death certificate to the bank and say, I'm the wife, I have access. He's not dead, he's in a coma. The family literally starved. The masjid had to go and give zakat donations to that household to pay their bills, because there was no papers done right. So please pay attention to this. Make sure you have beneficiaries on the bank account, have a power of attorney to the spouse. Just God forbid if something happened, like especially if it's a coma or someone gets sick and cannot go and do things in person. So these things are very, very important actually. It's a different topic that maybe this is something that they can do a lecture on by itself. But another example, just I wanna leave it with the example that I had to work with Khatun Naziha with this client. Her husband had all the homes in his names, and she had 4 kids, and he passed away, no trust, no will, and just before he got sick, and before he passed away, he told her, "Oh, I feel bad. Nothing is in your name. Go bring the notary, and I wanna give you I wanna sign things off to you." So they brought the notary to the hospital, and they did a power of attorney, and then he signed it, and then 2 days later he died. Okay, you know what happened with power of attorney when the person dies? It's nothing. Power of attorney is only applicable when the person is alive. So the guy died two days later, so that piece of paper doesn't. I wish he did a will and signed it in front of a notary. He didn't. He
But
owned.
I'm sorry, I have a question, but isn't it like when a person, let's say the husband, and he has the homes under his name, but they're legally married, so everything should go to her and the
Yes,
kids,
that-
maybe to her, basically.
That's a community property if they bought it together when they were married. He was married to someone before her, American lady before her, when he bought this property, and then he divorced that lady, and he had even kids from that lady that no one knows about, like no one knows, like they're not involved in his life, and then he married her, and they had 4 kids, and then he died. So all the property were purchased before their marriage, so it's not community property, and he died, and there was no will, no trust, and they had 4 kids, minor kids.
But after 10 years, they become community property.
No, believe it or not, the case been 3 years in court, in probate. And wallahi, this lady has been going through hell, you know? Even though she has almost over $1 million in assets that she cannot touch, her kids are not benefiting from. Just recently, Hala, we were able to get the probate to agree because what they had to put an ad to try to find his other kids, and then they never came forward. It was such a big mess. Wallahi, if you guys see the details of this case, it's really unfortunate. So please go into home and look up your assets, check and make sure that you have them all in order. If it's a community property, if there's homes and husbands and wives, it's always great. Because God forbid, if somebody dies, the other person takes over. But if there's a divorce case where it's only one person, and that person dies, and they don't have all the stuff in order, then it becomes very difficult to work with. Okay? Yeah.
I want to add something to the community property based on your question, which is if, let's say, I am rich and I have a house and multiple business in my name before marriage, then I went and married someone who's not as rich. Everything that I own before the marriage is mine forever.
Yeah.
So this is what you mean with the community. So basically, let's say you get 50-50 from whatever I bought when I married this guy. But before that, that's my money. And a lot of people, to protect their kids and the marriage and everything, whatever they want to give their kids, they go and create trust for their kids with this property. So when they get married, they protect it from like divorce.
Another comment on that is if you ever, it's really, it's your own personal, but if you ever use any money from the community property
Yes.
to pay
Yes.
your personal thing before marriage, it becomes
Community property. I was gonna just say that, yes. This is but that's, again, if it's gonna be disputed. Yes. So if, let's say, like, to answer, like, if, let's say, one of the homes that you bought before marriage has mortgage, and then you got married, and then the mortgage got paid from the account of you and your husband after, then that, he can argue and say that it is community property because I helped in paying that mortgage. But there's like, there's always like, rules about this and all that, but our concern is not about the community property as much as please, like, go and look into, God forbid, if something happened where you go into a coma or pass away, is everything in order? Do your kids know your passwords? Do your kids know your bank accounts? Do they know what type of 401ks you have, or retirement funds, or insurance policies, or whatever? Try to have them all in a folder and share them with your loved ones. Yes.
I don't know if you guys know or not, but I mean, in iPhones, there is a place where you can assign your husband or your kid, I believe. After something happened to you, they can reach your phone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I will check it with my phone.
Yeah.
I have it so that whenever you assign someone, they're gonna get a notification, you know, and then they know that they can reach
access your phone.
phone. Mhm.
Interesting, yes.
Yes. Is that
Any
what
other
you-
questions that we can cover?
So, I have a personal property, but the property right now I'm living is in my dad's name and only my dad's name, and he doesn't live here. He internationally bought it. So we've tried to make a trust will, but they're saying that if international people buy properties here, like if I had to inherit the property, I have to pay $500,000.
And like what, like taxes or something?
Yes.
Yes, I see.
So is there a way, like, what should we do now? Because he's not a green card holder, he's not a citizen.
Yeah,
He bought it, he gave the house to me.
yeah.
So now I'm not sure.
You know, that is a question that definitely needs to be raised with an attorney, a real estate attorney, to help you, but please don't sleep on this.
Okay.
Try to take care of it, because again, if something goes wrong and like you really need to know what's the chain of orders, like who's gonna, but you know, your dad's still alive, he's back home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not, look into it and make sure that it's properly done. Don't ignore it,
So
yes.
we have to go to a real estate attorney?
Yes, and if you need help, I can definitely recommend attorneys to help you with that stuff, yes. Any other questions?
You mentioned the highest amount under smart claims is 12,000. What is the minimum amount?
$1.
Oh,
A lot of times people go to small claim out of principle. It's not just about the money.
yeah, I
Sometimes
know,
you just,
I understand.
You know,
Yeah,
you go because you really want to teach that person a lesson.
exactly.
You know?
Yes.
So you can go for $1 actually. But now, if you own a business, it's not 12,500. It's 6,250. So if
Oh,
you're a
okay.
corporation, you know the limit is less.
Oh,
Okay, but for individuals, it used to be 5,000 in the past, but now they
Now
increase it
they
to
raise it.
12,500. Yes.
One more question I have, just very small. The exact translation in Arabic for being served. Is
Oh,
it like
being served?
إبلاغ or مقاطعة؟
إبلاغ إنه إبلاغ قانوني.
إبلاغ قانوني.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can it be
Banana.
on
Okay.
WhatsApp or message, text
لا
message?
process.
be in person?
No, it has to be, someone has to physically give the document to them, and it's not
Because
you.
you have their personal info, his personal phone.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I as a paralegal, I have access to background checks. I can, with your phone number, you'll be amazed how much information I can get on you. All your addresses, where you work, all the relatives, a lot of relatives linked to you, emails, phone numbers. So if, let's say, I need to serve someone, I can easily serve, by just doing background check on that person, I'll be able to look up so much records on that on people. That's actually another thing to mention, yes.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I do have a question about that, because I find it a little infuriating that I could look up my name, and that if I want more information on me, I have to pay $20, like, I'm not getting a cut of that. Like,
Yes.
that's my answer.
Yes.
So how is that even legal? No, do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, so I now personally, I have to tell you, every 6 months, I go online and I Google my information and I remove it off the internet.
And you what?
I remove it.
How do you remove it?
Uh-huh.
That removing it is actually a skill, and sometimes you have to call the company. Sometimes they would ask for a copy of your driver license to verify, to make sure that it's you. I provide that information. Now, if you Google my name, you're gonna see LinkedIn, which is, it's okay, I'm okay with that. But then you will not see any other information under my phone number or under my address or on my phone, nothing.
Do you have a website where you could build a page to tell us how to do that?
It's every 6 months, you have to go and remove that information, clear it off the internet. So what you do is like when you Google your name, my recommendation is you Google your name and you Google your phone number on Google. And then anything that opens up You click on it, and then you see if it has any personal information. You go to their fine print at the bottom and see how do I remove it. There's a link. How do I remove my information with your website? Then you call them. You send them a call. You send them an email. You say, I notice you have information, personal information on me, on your website. You have no authority to use it. Please remove it. They would say, okay, some companies make it difficult. They're like, okay, verify that it's you. Send us a copy of your driver license. Okay, or you send us something in writing. Okay,
I did this, I was not wearing hijab and I had lots of pictures. I'm a photographer, so I'm like all over it. So I actually had to request from Google to take off any picture for me with not wearing the hijab. And it took a while, I had to view it, but it is Google request, they have to verify what she said. The same thing with my house, I looked up my house and you see it, you see the front door, you see everything. So I told them I want it to be blurred, like it's my car in the front. So now if you go look my home, it will be blurred from the side, from the front, you will not see my house. So there's a lot of things that you can do like that.
Very good.
We talked about landlord rights.
Yes.
How about if it's for like tenant rights? If like I get a lot of calls saying we got an eviction letter and we don't know what to do.
Yes.
How long they can stay after the eviction letter?
Yes.
Is
okay. So with landlord tenant, one thing that I can leave you with that is a valuable information. Okay, if you're renting and you're moving out and you gave 30-day notice and you paid a deposit, you let your landlord know 30 days in advance in writing via text, WhatsApp, email. Give him a letter by certified mail that I'm moving out, right? You move out. Don't say a word for 30 days. Don't say a word to him. Don't say, where's my security deposit? Don't say anything. You need to wait 21 days. If your landlord fails to send you something in writing within 21 days of moving out, he loses his right or her right to deduct anything from your security deposit. And if you take him to small claim, guess what? You can ask for up to 3 times your security deposit from court. So let's say you paid $2,000 in security deposit, you waited 21 days, 25, and that's I say wait 30 days. Don't say a word. 30 days passes, you call him and you say, where's my security deposit? He would say, oh, I deducted it because you have a bunch of damages and the carpet has stains. It could be legit, it could be real stuff. But if he did not send you something in writing within 21 days, you tell him, but guess what? State of California rule says you had 21 days to do this, you lost your chance. Please send me my deposit, or otherwise if I go to court, I'm gonna ask for 3 times my deposit. And you will get it. That's one trick. Is that okay? So move out, don't say a word, but give him 30-day notice in writing, and don't say a word for another 30 days, and then ask for your security deposit. And if he doesn't pay you, call me, and I'll give you more than your security deposit back. Okay?
But my question was like, do they give them like the period of time they can stay after the eviction letter?
So eviction is a whole different, it will take a whole lecture
From
to
a
talk
complex,
about.
like.
Yes, it's a very complex thing. So if you get served with an eviction, don't ignore it. It has the expert people.
Because they don't have money to pay.
You know what, but actually, I'm sorry, Anna, personally, I would never rent people who got evicted. Eviction is not something to be proud of. If you're not paying rent, you need to move out. Okay, it's not even Islamically legal. Okay, so I wouldn't even help people who are getting evicted, because in a way, if they should move out before getting evicted. If the landlord asks for their property and they're not paying the rent, the right thing to do is to move out, not to squatter and stay for free.
So don't help them like.
No, tell them you need to move out. Go with
Okay.
family members.
And
haram.
find another
Haram.
apartment.
What they're doing is literally haram. They're actually staying in someone's property and they're not paying
Right.
rent. This person
Right.
needs to pay their mortgage.
Okay.
They're putting themselves at.
Because sometimes they're asking like, okay, we have this amount of money and we're gonna get another amount of money. It's going to be, no, okay, don't go through this.
Personally, I would not rent to evictors. I would
Okay.
not. It's actually it's like almost as bad as having bankruptcy on your record.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions? I think we're right. It's almost 1 o'clock.
Can I just
Yeah.
comment on section 8?
Yes.
Like part of it, the government pays and they pay, I
Yes.
think they pay the other part. And we took them to court for like 9 months and they didn't pay and we didn't get any money from the state or from them.
It's probably, you know, had you had, like, I don't know, I need to look into the details of it. Again, any type of collections, there's art and how to collect and how to hold, the other side accountable. You know, I don't know the details, I can't comment
It's
on
because
that.
they say because they have kids.
Yeah.
So section 8 say, well, we can't evict them, you know,
Yeah,
until you find them another property.
I'm telling you, that's what I'm trying to explain to you, is that some people who know the system, it's so difficult to get them out, and you give them cash for keys, almost they the flu, or like all that stuff, and it's really bad. That's why, in my opinion, it's wrong for someone to stay in someone's property and not pay rent.
They know it's wrong and everything, but the thing is, they went through a hardship and they're asking for help, so no.
No,
Okay,
it's not the
okay.
landlord's
Good to
problem,
know.
yeah.
Thank you.
Good? Yes?
Yes, we're
Okay. So beneficial. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was great.
You know, I actually, my PowerPoint presentation's on a PDF that I can send to you, so you can forward it to anyone. It has all my.
Do you have a card?
It has my business card at the bottom of it. Can I send it to you?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and we'll go ahead and have it available for everybody. I think from this presentation, it was so informative and so well done. Thank you so much, Rania.
so much.
I believe that we are gonna have, probably just a few more presentations that we're gonna ask you to do because it's so informative. We really appreciate it. Thank you everyone for coming. On behalf of Sabeel, we have lunch. It's halal lunch, so please make sure that you get some before you go out. And sit here and enjoy. And I'd just like to thank everybody for coming, and I'd like to thank Umma Delta Health Center for hosting us. So everybody please enjoy and have a little bit of social interaction here.
Thank you.